Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and John Victor is this close to joining West Ham according to Fabrizio Romano. Personal term has been agreed and we're in the final stages of negotiating with Botafogo to get the deal over the line. Amazing news for me, because I think this was a deal that was always going to happen. For me, it was how long it was going to take. I know some people would have preferred Hermanson or Suzuki. I fully understand that, they are better players. I do think that the price point was always going to be the issue for us this summer. And this is not me defending the board, this is me looking at what we can do to improve the squad. And if we can only go big on one position, I'd much rather that be the midfield. I think, although I'm not a fan of Areola and I know nothing about John Victor, I would rather get that midfield sorted, because if we can sort the midfield out, it puts less pressure on the goalkeepers. Whereas, even if we sign a new goalkeeper, it doesn't matter how good they are, we'll put pressure on them if we don't sort that midfield out. And I think putting the biggest amount of cash into that midfield is our priority. It should be our priority. Yes, it will be annoying if by the end of the window we do sell on Emerson and Rodriguez and Irving and Cornet, and we do so get a pot of, I might be optimistic here, for those four players, 20 million, and we could have realistically put that into the transfer fund. And yes, that is down to our board being awful with deals and not knowing how to get players on. We've never been good at selling. We've never been good at selling at all. Even with the Coulda deal earlier on, you saw that we didn't, hold very much for the biggest offer. We just took the 55 million Tottenham gave us and said thank you very much. So it's very clear that we're not good at that. But before we get into this deal a bit more, if you could please subscribe, I would really appreciate it. You guys have been fantastic with the subscribe button recently, and the comments and the likes. Get in the comments down below, let me know as well. This is a space for all opinions, so if you're positive, negative, get in the comments down below. I'd love to discuss with you. But yeah, I'm obviously feeling a bit more positive than I think most of, the fan bases. Normally that is just how I operate, but yeah, I think in this one I'm not too bothered. I know Areola is an issue, but as I said, to me he's not the priority position, and if I'm being realistic and just knowing how the window is going to go, it does seem that the goalkeeper isn't the priority in terms of the spending. Getting a second goalkeeper in was a priority, don't get me wrong. I think that became clear after Wes Folleringham's performance in the Manchester United game. But this is a €10 million package. He's 29, which I know seems old for a goalkeeper. That could turn out to be good value. We don't know how good he is. So, for me, it's a deal to keep an eye on. But it's not one that I'm overly upset about. This isn't the Callum Wilson situation where I'm sat there going, this feels like a back step. This feels like the wrong player. Because I don't know John Victor. And again, he could turn out to be brilliant, right? That's the thing. And what we will say is, if this is correct, if this is a good deal, if it's worked out, if it's the right man, I hope we swallow our pride and go, fair play, John Victor. I think what this is more showing is the fact that the board aren't backing Carl McCauley and Graham Potter. They had their targets, and as far as we're aware of what we've been told, this isn't one of them, or at least John Victor was very far down the list, and we're doing this because of money. So yeah, I can see why fans are upset, obviously going for the cheaper option. But again, I will forgive this deal entirely if we put our efforts in getting a midfielder in. I know the whole story is we need to get rid of midfielders, but it's coming to the point now where we just need to get that next midfielder in. And if we have to unregister one of them, so be it. I'm sorry, I hate to say that as a football fan, but we have to sort that midfield out. I think Freddie Potts and Earthy could be great additions this summer, but I don't see where Andy Irving and Guido Rodriguez fit in. I know Potter it seems that Potter is giving a bit more time to Rodriguez, and I'm okay with that. I think that works fine. In essence, I do think in practice it is still a bit worrying that we are relying on Guido Rodriguez, knowing that he's not really up to the scrap in the Premier League with the pace. But he could be wrong. It could be a Nicholas Fulkrug situation. I've just not seen enough of it in pre-season to convince me that Rodriguez is good enough at Premier League level. But 10 million isn't bad at all. I do think that would help us. It's more money, for the midfielder position, which is looking to be expensive. If we're going for Jacob Ramsey, if we're going for Harvey Elliott, if we're going for any of these other European midfielders, we're going to have to spend some money on that. And I really hope that it works out for John Victor, because I'll tell you what, one thing I will give David Sullivan is that I think Kyle Walker-Peters is a good signing. And I think when it was coming out that Potter wasn't a fan of him, you can tell that Potter either has become a fan of him because of how much he was used in pre-season, which shows that our manager can change. He's not stuck to his ways, which I knew this anyway. You guys have known this on the channel. I've said this so many times. John Victor, again, with the goalkeeping situation, it's interesting. I kind of like having two goalkeepers that are on the same level. I know some people don't, some people just want one good one. But I don't know. I think it makes sense maybe to move Areola on next summer. His wages are a bit high to be sat on the bench. I think John Victor, if we get rid of Areola next year, John Victor would be happy to be second choice going forward. Unless he does so well in the Premier League, in which case this could be, a different conversation. But for me, I don't know, I'm feeling I'm happy about the signing because of the money involved, because of the quality of what I have perceived and seen and people have said. Look, this is not like a League One goalkeeper. This isn't, John Victor's not that. 10 million euros. Do I think he'll be worth that by the end of his time at West Ham? Do you know what? Yeah, I do. And in essence, doesn't that make it a good signing? No, I'm not saying it fixes our goalkeeping issue at the club. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I'm trying to give you guys look at it from a positive avenue if I can. And that is just, would this turn out to be a good signing? I think yes. Also, ideally, we can get this 10 million euros back from just player sales. Surely Emerson or Cornet or Cornet and Irving together would make 10 million, you'd imagine. And from there, we got the money back, and it's like we never spent it on the player. Because so far all we've done is spend on Malik Diouf. I guess John Clare Tadibo also does count as well. So he turned out 50 million. This will put it up to 60. And then from there, who knows? But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. A bit more of a discussing video like the Callum Wilson one. Not as heavily edited. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. Please do let me know what you think of John Victor in the comments down below. And I'll see you very soon. Take it easy. And bye-bye.